Welcome to this week's episode of the GSM Pride Spotlight. This week my special guest is Alondra.
Hello.
So Alondra's been with us for, how long have you been forward for?
It's going to be 2 years in July.
2 years in July. And let's talk a little bit about your personal life. You have a daughter, correct?
Yes.
How old is your daughter?
She is 5 years old. Will be 6 this year in September.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to tell us about your daughter?
She hates when I go to work because she knows that I'm going to be here all day. But, you know, we got to do what we got to do.
Is she back in school yet?
She is
like
doing
full-time or
no,
Zoom?
She's doing online classes.
All online?
All online.
Okay. And so your parents take care of her in the daytime?
Well, my mom does.
Yep.
And obviously my dad works, but yeah.
Cool. So let's shift a little bit. Where was your first job in the car industry?
I was actually at Lou Fuse Fiat and Alfa Romeo. That's where I started initially. And I was a service writer there for about, I'm going to say 6 months.
So what brought you to the car business? Did you do anything prior to that work-wise or not?
No, actually, one of my close friends, Tony Aldana, he wanted to hire me only because I was fluent in both English and Spanish. And he said, well, you're really good with customers and, you know, communication. So he wanted to bring me on board. And he said, well, if you do good there, I can transfer you over to sales. But it was never my intention to be in sales. So
what did you do before the car industry? Just school?
School, and I was also a phlebotomist at American Red Cross. So
would you like to repeat that again or what?
Phlebotomist.
Would you like to explain what that is?
Basically drawing blood. So whenever you donate blood, that's what I was doing. I was taking your blood out, and I actually started from the actual beginning. So I did the manufacturing. I did the like the centrifuge as far as like separating the blood from the plasma and the plasma to cryo. So I did that for a while, and that's where I was.
So you have some experience in the medical world then, right?
I do.
Well, let me ask you this. What made you shift out of that? Because especially in St. Louis, that's like a huge market in this.
It was really scary because there was 2 times where the actual blood like squirted in my eye, and I had to go to Concentra, and it got scary. And just being the person that I am, that I get worried, and I'm just like, no, like this blood has not been tested yet. So it could have been anything. So, I mean, I got burnt out because I was there for 3 years.
Oh, so you did do that for quite a while.
I was doing that. And then I also did, like marketing business for Brado, which was a good time, but that was temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you shifted into the car industry.
Yep.
How was it over at the Metro store?
It was very slow, but it was nice. It was a good start because I got to learn the process. Definitely different night and day from here because there was not a lot of negotiation. There it was more so people that need a car and would do anything to get a vehicle.
Yeah. So if you don't know this about our Fiat Metro East store, it's predominantly a subprime location. They mainly sell used cars versus new. And actually I think right now they only sell used cars. So it is a little bit of a different transition. So then let's jump forward a little bit. You were there for how long?
So I started there 2018 August. And then I moved here in July.
But you did go to a competitor in between there, correct?
Oh yes, I went to Bomarito Audi, but the process was extremely different. They kind of just like threw me out there and didn't like expected me to know everything. So for me, it was like, no, like I don't know your process. The CRM's different. I mean, everything was different, and I couldn't sell anything until I did like all of the training, and I was only in new sales. So that was.
And you were at the Audi location, correct?
At the Audi location, yeah, in Ellisville.
So how long were you there for before you moved here?
A month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Brian Anderson reached out to you?
Yeah, and Chris did as well.
Yeah, and Chris.
Yeah.
Because obviously you'd worked with Chris and Brian over at the Metro store.
I did, yes.
And then you came here in, what did you say, July? July.
Mm-hmm.
So 19?
Yes.
Yeah, so you've been here nearly 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right, great. And how's things been going here?
Um, I like it here, actually. I know that you want the best for everybody and you push us hard. So I really appreciate that. You're not like, it's going to fly and there's nothing going to be done about it.
Yeah.
There's obviously going to be consequences, and it's not your job to be a babysitter. Everybody should be accountable for that.
Did you just say it's not my job to be a babysitter?
Yeah.
Well, then why do I feel like that?
I don't know. You don't have to
I'd
tell
say
me
on
what
my
to do.
resume it says au pair for the last 17 years.
Although it feels like that sometimes. Being a mom for me is like, I don't like people telling me what to do.
Let's shift gears a little bit. You kind of hit on something that I did want to talk about. What's it like being a mother and in the car industry? Because the reason I ask that question is everyone knows the car industry takes a lot of your time up. It's kind of a 24-hour job, but also being a parent is at the same time. I'm lucky enough to have my wife stays at home, but how do you find to juggle that? Because I imagine that to be kind of difficult.
It is difficult, but she also has a dad, so we do have like split schedules where she's with him half the time and with me. But, obviously me being here most of the time, it does suck. But I do find a balance where, I hang out with her whenever I am off, which is rare, but I take, the most out of that to be able to hang out. But it is really hard.
Because I do remember for a while there when you first came here, you were going through a little bit of a tough time because you wasn't gelling with the change in pace from the subprime store to a new car store. And you were kind of working two jobs as well, weren't you? You were working here and then going bartending and then also trying to be a mother at the same time. So that must have been a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure, but I work better under a lot of pressure.
But then we sat down and figured out a way to not have you work two jobs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Last month you were the salesperson of the month, correct?
Yes.
And you've won that, 3 times or twice?
3.
3. So, yes, you've been up there a couple of times, and you're doing pretty well this month too, right? Good. So let's bounce back to here. You came here in 2019. Obviously, you've been here for 2 years, so you've been successful. One thing I do want to touch on, and this, if you don't want to talk about this, I understand.
Okay.
What was it like for you when we lost Chris here? Because obviously, the reason I'm asking you is because not everyone had the opportunity to work with him at 2 different stores.
Yeah.
You had a little bit of a closer relationship with Chris than some of the salespeople here, because some of the salespeople only worked with him for 6 months, but you technically had worked for him for,
a longer period of time.
A year and a half, probably,
Yeah.
at that time. How was that?
It was really hard because, he was always the first one to say hello and see how I was doing. But he was not only doing that for me. Like, he would go to everybody and say hello. And if you need anything, let me know. Like, the times that he was here, there was not one day that he was in here that he never said hello and asked if everything was okay, if I needed anything. So when he passed away, it hit hard because that same day when we found out, the day before, we had a long conversation, you, me, and him.
Yeah, which was crazy, yeah.
It was so crazy. And he said, I believe in you, and I know that you have all the potential. And I don't want you working 2 jobs. I want you to focus on this because I know that you are more than capable to do so.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I talked about that, because I never forget to this day that being the last time that I saw him in person, because I never forget. He was sat opposite. I was at the side. He said, "I've got to go," and left, and we carried on the conversation, and then I got the phone call at night time. It was. I've never really forgot that was the last time that I really saw him. So it was kind of, if anyone watched my vlog last week, they know that I was real close with Chris, and I also knew that you were. So I just wanted to really get your take on it, because we never really talked about it that much because it was so difficult at that time.
Yeah.
And I think it would have been too emotional to have that conversation about it. But I was just curious how that really affected you, because he was a great leader, and he was good for us, and unfortunately, we lost him. But I was just curious to see what that was like.
He was always really easy to approach, and it was nice to have him around while he was here. But
so after he'd gone, I took over. Have you got any critiques for me since I've been a general manager?
No, actually, things got better for me because you were really hard on me, but you pretty much just what's the word? You helped me progress because you pushed me and
Yeah.
you believed in me and you helped me through, along the way, because I didn't know a lot of things from the prior store that I was in that I do know now.
Yeah.
So, honestly, like just believing in me and pushing me. And
Let's talk about that a little bit. So I know we spent a lot of time, especially the new car side, trying to figure out the process for the pricing and whatnot. Explain to the people at home, what is the major difference between selling used cars versus new? Why is that a little bit of a hard transition for some people? And the reason I ask that is I've been there too, because I sold used cars originally, and then when you transition to new, it is a different kind of customer and different kind of selling. Just give your opinion of what you think that is.
so for me, selling used cars is super easy only because there is not a million cars the same way. It's going to have different mileage. It's going to be a different color. Carfax is going to be different. They're coming on that specific car. So it's easier to sell that car versus selling a new one because it can go anywhere. We have a lot of competitors here as far as like a Ford brand itself. And as far as pricing goes, now like our numbers are online. That's going to be your best price. And unfortunately, like people are going to come in and try to get the best number, not knowing that the best number is online. So it's a little bit difficult because they're going to be able to shop around and
It's kind of like working for a fixed price
Yes.
store, even though they're expecting a new negotiation.
Exactly. And like with a used vehicle, I mean, you take that vehicle away, they're going to be upset because that's what they want.
Yeah, it's the one car.
Yeah, it's that one car.
Yep. What about the management staff we have right now? Corey, Jeff, I know you get on great with Brian, which we'll touch on in a second. Steve, how do you feel they've helped you or not helped you?
Honestly, I love my team so much because, I mean, we all work together. Like if someone doesn't know something, I go to someone else and they figure it out. Like it's always, we're going to get this figured out. It's never like, okay, I'll see what I can do. It's always like, I'm going to take care of it right then and there.
So let's touch on Brian Anson. You and Brian are very close. Obviously, you worked at 2 different dealerships together, so that leans into it. He's also a fluent Spanish speaker too.
Yeah.
Is that the main connection? What is it about Brian that's really you two have become friends? What is it?
Actually, we actually look at each other more like family because for me, he's always there to help no matter what. And I tell him like the situation that's going on with the customer, and he always finds a way to, help me out with that customer. And he tells me like, there's nothing we can do, or yes, we can do something, but I'm going to need this and that. But he gets on it like right away.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that about him because had it been anybody else, I'm losing deals, in the month because nobody wants to work on it.
Yeah.
But with him, like I know that I can get a result done.
So is that why when I say work the desk, you know who to go to?
Yeah, I know who to go to for certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I'll touch on that real quick from a general standpoint. I've always been a big proponent of, I've always said that the salesperson needs to know how to manage the desk also, because each person, Zach and I actually touched on this in my interview, managers are best when they kind of have they're opposites. So they, one person could do one thing and they kind of make the right person. So that's good for you that you have figured out who to go to and who not to go to.
Absolutely.
Given the circumstance. What's your aspirations for the future when it comes to here or outside here, for that matter?
So I do plan on going back to school and continuing to study political science because I do want to become an immigration lawyer. That's been my dream since I was little. And with the car business, like seeing customers happy at the end of the day, that's what makes me happy. So as far as being here, I'm going to go as far as it will take me, and if I don't get to do what I want, at least I'm here, but I do want to escalate. I know that wasn't the plan, but if it does.
Yeah, no doubt.
No, not at all.
When you first came here, it was kind of a stopgap at that point.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I'm okay just selling. But now it's like I've opened up the horizons, as you will. But
so are you saying that you would consider a management role if it came up and was the right fit?
Absolutely.
Good to know.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like I have really good connections with people, and I know how to talk to people. I know how to read people. Sometimes I don't like saying no to them because I like to see them happy, but
Yeah, we've
it is what it
that.
is. Yeah, like it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's about all the questions I've got for you. Is there anything that you want to tell the people at home to try and drive some business into Alondra?
Oh, yeah. I'll take care of you. We take care of you like family here. I'll even buy you something, like food. Or you can take me on a date.
I was going to say,
I'm
be
just
careful
kidding,
with that because they might request a car.
Oh. I'm just kidding.
Is there anything you want to... I probably don't have many Spanish speakers as followers, but be my guest to broadcast those horizons.
Okay.
I would love them more. If all these Spanish speakers want to come on my subscription, I'm sure we could do... Can't we do some Spanish subtitles?
Subtitles?
If you're hiring somebody to do maybe you can spit Alondra. She'll start writing some.
I'm actually trilingual, but
What's the third one?
Tagalog,
What's that?
Filipino.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, you are half Filipino, right?
Well, 1/8.
1/8,
not half.
yeah,
But
so-
I mean, still. Sure. Si están buscando un vehículo, por favor no duden en llamarme. Me pueden hablar al 636-519-2518. Con mucho gusto los atendemos aquí y los tratamos como familia. Así que vengan y pregunten por Alondra. Si necesitan alguna información de qué traer para comprar un vehículo, con mucho gusto los atendo. Gracias.
Told you she was fluent. That was amazing. So, as always, over at Luffy's Ford, we can replace the car but not the customer. And I'll see you all next week.
Bye.